So today's tutorial is about how to make this Y2K inspired long and skinny scarf. We make it by alternating colors every row, starting with a foundation chain of 251 and then half double crocheting the whole way down each row for a total of 7 rows. So the yarn that I'm using is Loops and Threads Impeccable. This is a worsted weight yarn. This light pink is called Soft Rose, and then the hot pink is called Lippy. Now your other supplies that you'll need are your yarn needle, you'll need your 5.5 millimeter or I9 crochet hook, and then you'll also need a pair of scissors. So the things that you'll need to know how to do for this pattern, you need to know how to make a slip knot, and you need to know how to chain. So I'll just demonstrate that briefly here. And then you also need to know how to make the half double crochet stitch. So that's yarn over, insert hook, pull up a loop, yarn over again, and pull through all 3. So I'll show you that again. So now we'll go ahead and get started. So first you're going to make your slip knot, and then you're going to chain 251. Now for the purposes of this video, I'm only going to be chaining about 25 just to keep it short, but you are going to be doing 251. I find it helpful to use a stitch marker, which can be an actual locking stitch marker or a bobby pin or a safety pin, and I place that every 50 stitches or so. That makes it easier to keep count. So now we have our starting chain, and just remember yours is going to be about 10 times longer than mine is. I only did about 25 where you're doing 251. Now we're going to half double crochet into the second chain from the hook. So that one right there, just place 1 half double crochet right in there. And we're just going to do half double crochets the whole way down to the end. So I'll just demonstrate the stitch a few more times here so you can see what I'm doing. But these half double crochets, we're just going to do 1 in each chain the whole way to the end. And then go ahead and pause me, and then when you hit your last half double crochet, don't do your last one, just when you hit your second to last one, hit play again, and we're going to be adding in our second color. So just pause me and then meet me back at the end. So now we have reached our last half double crochet. So we're just going to start it like normal. But then before we yarn over and pull through all 3, we're going to stop and we're going to drop the working end of that hot pink that we were just using. And now we're going to be adding our second color, the light pink. So you're just going to take a piece of it and you're going to leave yourself a little tail. I usually leave about 6 or 8 inches or so. And you're just going to basically sort of fold it in half and lay it on top of your hook as though it's the piece you were already using. And you're going to finish your half double crochet stitch with the new color. And then we chain 1 to turn. And I'll show you that one more time just so you can really see how I'm doing it. So yarn over, insert hook, pull up a loop, all with the original color. Now take the new color, leaving a tail of 6 or 8 inches, lay it on your hook, and that becomes your new working yarn. And you're going to pull through those 3 loops with that now, and chain 1 with that new one as well. So now we're going to turn, and now we're going to learn how to carry our yarn. So we want to change colors every row, and if we don't take our hot pink strand with us, we won't have that strand at the end to switch back to it whenever we get to the end. So basically how this works is we pretty much just lay the hot pink on top of the row that's already crocheted, and we crochet over top of it. We just pretend it's not there, we just lay it across the top as though it's a part of what we have already made. So we're going to be working into that stitch right there, that's the second one from the hook. So this is a little bit fiddly, especially the first stitch of the row, so just make sure that hot pink strand is hanging out with the hot pink stitch that you're working into. It needs to be on top of your hook. So just like that, see how we just hid it inside of that light pink? And go ahead and finish your light pink stitch. And now we're just going to half double crochet the whole way down, just hiding that pink strand. Now if we were doing it normally, we would just go in without that strand hanging there, but we want that strand hanging there. So we want that to just be sitting right on top like that. So I'll go ahead and I'll show you what it looks like from the back. So you can see how that strand is just, it's sort of visible in between the stitches there, but you really can't see it. It's just blending in with that hot pink row that's already crocheted. So I'm just going to continue going down the line with a few of these, just so you can see exactly how I'm doing it. You don't need to be incorporating this hot pink strand into any of your stitches or anything like that. It shouldn't really be involved with your hook at all. It is just sitting on top of that crocheted row and getting hidden into the row that you are currently crocheting. So I just like to keep it sitting right on top, and I sort of guide it like with my left hand. I sort of keep it in place with my pointer finger, just so that I don't drop the strand. And then I like to just give it a little bit of a tug every so often, just to keep it tight, just to make sure that it's not, like pulling out or anything like that, just to keep it looking nice, keep it taut so that it's easier to work with. Now I'll show you what it would look like if you do miss one, so you can tell pretty easily looking at the back if you do miss a stitch, because sometimes you do drop it. So I'll go ahead and show you that. And you should just, every few stitches, just look around at the back. So it's pretty obvious there. See how that's sticking out? That's what it would look like if you missed one. So just every few stitches, just sort of flip it around, look at the back real quick, just to make sure you don't have anything that looks like that. If you do, just go ahead and pull it out and just fix it. Okay, so we have reached the end of row 2, and we will now be switching from light pink back to the hot pink. So we do it the same way we did it the first time. We start our half double crochet, still carrying that hot pink yarn. We start it with our light pink, we drop the working end of light pink, pick up the working end of hot pink, and we finish the stitch with this pink. And then you chain one, and then you turn. So now we need to get our light pink strand ready to be carried the whole way down the row, the same way the hot pink was. So it's slightly different now since we already have the strand hanging out here rather than adding it in like we did the first time, so I'll show you how to do that. But first, just get your strands untangled. So I like to just make sure at the beginning of every round, I just like to make sure that everything is untangled, my yarn is all good to go, nothing is tying itself in knots. I like to keep my yarn on a flat surface in front of me while I'm doing 2 colors. This just helps to keep it sort of in a straight line, so that way it's really easy to keep it from getting tangled. So just get everything untangled there, and then we'll get started on row number 3. Okay, so we're at the beginning of row number 3 now. We will be working with hot pink and carrying or hiding light pink. So for the hot pink, we sort of put the yarn around the front for our first stitch. For this one, the way it's falling, for me anyway, it sort of falls more naturally to the back, so it's going to be starting out in the back. And it doesn't really matter which one you use, whether you put the yarn on the front or the back. Just sometimes it falls a different direction, and this time it wants to go in the back, so I'm letting it go in the back. So we do this the same way, where we just make our half double crochets, starting in the second stitch from the hook. So that first light pink one right there makes it nice and easy to see. It's just a normal half double crochet, except we're just hiding that light pink strand. So yarn over, insert hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all three. Just, this is what it's going to look like. So we're just laying it on top and we're just working the hot pink stitches over top of that light pink strand. And I'll just continue to demonstrate this down the row a few more times. So just go ahead and follow along with me. Okay, so we have reached the end of row 3, and now for this tutorial I am going to show you how to do a total of 4 rows. Now for your actual scarf you will be doing a total of 7 rows, but I just want to make this pretty quick, make this video pretty short, so I'm only going to be doing 4 rows, so I'm actually going to cut off the hot pink after this. You're doing 7 rows, so you don't cut yet. Okay, so I'm going to cut my yarn, but you don't cut yet because you're doing 7 rows. So we'll go ahead and switch back to our light pink here. Just starting the half double crochet with the hot pink and then finishing it with the light pink. And then we're just going to go ahead and cut off our hot pink. So we don't need it anymore. We're not going to be switching back to it at the end of this next row. So there's no reason to carry it and use that yarn up. So we can just go ahead and cut that off. Leave yourself a tail of 6 to 8 inches to weave in later. Give it a little tug, make sure it's tight. Go ahead and turn your work. And now we're just back to our basic half double crochet the whole way down the row with light pink. And we're not carrying any yarn on this row. So I'm just going to continue demonstrating these half double crochets in light pink the whole way down the row. While I do that, I just want to give you a quick overview of the pattern. So you are going to chain 251 in your first color, and then still in your first color, you're going to half double crochet the whole way down. So you'll have 250 half double crochet stitches the whole way down. And then you will switch over to your second color. So for this video, that was the light pink. And you will crochet 250 half double crochets the whole way down the row while carrying the strand of your first color. And then you just switch back and forth between colors every row. Just every row you're just going to change colors and carry the color from the previous row. Just the whole way down, half double crochets. At the end of each row, chain 1 and turn. And then you're going to do a total of 7 rows. And that is the whole pattern, just back and forth, 250 half double crochets for 7 rows, and that is the whole scarf. So I just want to say thank you for following along with this tutorial. I really appreciate you choosing my video. If you have any questions or feedback, please leave me a comment. I love getting comments. And as a reminder, this scarf is available as a DIY kit from my Etsy shop. It includes the yarn and your choice of colors, the crochet hook, the yarn needle, and the written pattern, and a beginner's guide to crochet that tells you everything that you need to know as a beginner crocheter. So if you're interested in that, the link is in the description, and thanks for crocheting with me.